Hello, and welcome to the Kickstart Your Confidence 21-Day Global Summit. We would like to welcome you and let you know that we will begin shortly. We are live from Victoria, BC, Canada. Let us know where you're attending from in the comments. We also wanted to share our content note with you and remind folks that the information that is provided herein is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This information is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease, but to inform you, the participant, of alternative methods for healing. In all health-related situations, qualified healthcare professionals should always be consulted. Some of our experts are doctors, naturopaths, and other medical professionals. However, you are encouraged to consult your own healthcare professional. In other words, no doctor-patient relationship is informed or suggested at any time during the series. Please also keep in mind that the host finds a lot of information from credible third parties and shares it here in this online forum when it is relevant. By participating in this online event, you acknowledge and agree that the third-party content is not created by the host and is shared with you, the participant, for educational, entertainment, and informational purposes only. And in no way do they guarantee a pledge or endorsement by the host for you, the participant, to take action on what the third party suggests or recommend on their sites or in their interviews. Please understand that this event provides general information only and is never a substitute for professional and medical advice. Most importantly, please consult your healthcare provider if you suspect a serious health concern. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding your condition. Your health is your wealth. Don't delay in taking the proper steps in saving your life. By the same token, we are also not providing any financial advice during this series. A summit, online forum, workshop, event is meant to inform. Taking action for your own health, finances, and life is meant to create change. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard or read that was shared during the online summit. Our platform provides an open and safer space for the critical and civil exchange of ideas that aren't often talked about when it comes to menopause and aging. Some content in this series will include topics and themes that some viewers may find difficult. We will always do our best to give you a proper heads up to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally beforehand. Thank you so much and welcome and enjoy today's show. Welcome to Kickstart Your Confidence. Learn useful secrets to manage and prepare for a happy menopause without breaking a sweat, losing sleep, or opportunity. My name is Tira Green, and today we are speaking with Michele Heyward. Michele is the CEO and founder of PositiveHire. And it really is an organization, a company that connects Black, Latinx, and Indigenous women in the science, technology, and engineering fields to management roles. Now, she is a proponent of really making sure that these folks find themselves in inclusive workspaces. And on the other side of that, Michele really helps to make sure that these business organizations can prepare for receiving all of these wonderful, lovely humans on the other side into their organizations. So with that said, I can say that Michele has a Bachelor of Science and a Master of Science in that she received from Clemson University. And so she has a lot of knowledge that she can share with us. And specifically, she's going to be speaking into us about LinkedIn. So welcome to Michele.
Thank you so much. I'm absolutely excited to be here. We're never prepared for menopause, I don't think. So having absolutely 3 weeks of content really dedicated to what we're going through, perimenopause and menopause, is truly invaluable for so many women because it's a silent thing that happens to us that's not spoken about.
Here. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that and starting off that way. And is there anything, before we really get into the LinkedIn, is there anything you want to share about your own journey of menopause that maybe might help someone not feel so alone or to really bring them into your world a little bit?
I would say don't be afraid of it. I've been fortunate to make friends with somebody that's been going through it, and her sharing more of her experiences with it. So if you can find somebody that's 7 years older than you that are open to discussing it. And actually it's been two women, one who's divorced and one who's married, and them sharing, like, my husband's like, he's confused, he doesn't know what's going on, and the other one will be on a Zoom call, and she's like, she's getting undressed, like, what's going on, what happened? She's like, I'm having a hot flash. And so really then, like, what is that and what happens, and having those open discussions with you outside of the doctor's office, and then them sharing what goes on in the doctor's office and what they're trying and what's working, that's natural as well, that's not necessarily prescribed by a doctor, to really help them with the different symptoms, because both of them are having similar symptoms but also different symptoms. And so really understanding and how to recognize, like, well, let me go see what the 50 common symptoms are. Maybe I started earlier and it's perimenopause and I'm seeing those signs now. But really finding others who are other women willing to talk about it is the first thing I would tell you to do. And I love the younger generation, because they're talking about it on Twitter and TikTok, like, hey, what is meant? What, we didn't know. Can you share more information than just in the comments and other women responding? So it may be on social and not one-to-one, but be open to those conversations and dialogue, I would say.
Thank you for that. And as we're moving into the workspace, for folks that are in potentially like business organizations, and they are having a hot flash, or they are trying to navigate, like, how do I speak up and advocate for myself? Do you have any thoughts or any things that you want to share to that regard?
There's a pro and a con to this, right? We always say HR is not your friend, but HR is mostly women.
Yeah.
And so you may be able to find an advocate for getting you a fan or a cooler location in the office who understands what you're going through. And then on the flip side of that is, HR being mostly women, they also help in the benefits area, pull together benefits. What are benefits that we should be discussing, we should be advocating for women as their age, because age is not looked at, especially for women, as something positive most of the time. And so how do we change that, and how do we build in opportunities to open up that dialogue, but also get benefits that are beneficial? You have as many benefits in an organization, but they're not beneficial to what we would say underrepresented people, and oftentimes, especially science, tech, and engineering, that's women. And so we really need to be focused on that. And I push that a lot when I do calls with companies, with employers.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and that was going to be my other question is, when you talk about, helping these business organizations to become a little more, or just help receive an inclusive, cohort, for example, which includes menopause, for example, like, how do you do that? Like, do you deliver presentations, or do you speak one-on-one, or how do you approach?
I do a lot of one-on-one conversations, of course, because we're looking at, do they have a need or an issue, or they're trying to reach a goal that we can assist them with, number one. So it's usually one-on-one dialogue or small group dialogue between myself and one or two, maybe three people in an organization. Oftentimes, if it's on the diversity recruitment side, I'm like, well, what are your benefits? Like, they're like, oh, they love our benefits. That's like, what percentage of your employees love your benefits? It's like, oh, like 87%. And I was like, well, who are the 13%? And they look at me, I said, because of the 13% of your marginalized employees, you're not creating an inclusive workplace, because you do not have inclusive benefits. You need to understand who the 13% are. So you need to know what to change in your benefits package. And I remember speaking to a CTO of a early stage tech startup. They were raising millions of dollars. And the guy was telling me all about the benefits. And he's like, and you can work remotely. I said, so I don't need those Uber credits. I said, I'm in rural South Carolina. I said, I can pull up the Uber app all day. I can guarantee you, Uber will never show up, because there's not going to be an Uber in the area. I said, so it's really important to understand what your employees need, what they value, and what is beneficial to them, because it may not be on your benefits package. And so you really have to understand that. And when we look at healthcare, even pre-COVID, oftentimes there were in-network doctors, and they were finding out that lower paid, often Black and brown employees were taking a day off to go to the doctor, and sometimes women. And what they were finding were they were having to take public transportation, maybe 2 or 3 buses, just to get to a doctor's office. And they were only taking time off when they were sick, much less preventative maintenance, preventative care rather, because it took so long to go to an in-network doctor. And so you really need to understand when you're providing service benefits to people, are they beneficial to them? And so you have to look at it through different equity lenses to really understand who's being negatively impacted by what you are perceiving as beneficial, and it's really not to your employees, especially those that are underrepresented and marginalized.
You're just so clear, and you're so just like you're on point, and I really appreciate you for starting us off that way. And now we can get into the LinkedIn part of that, right? And so so now we've gotten ourselves ready to kind of network, branch out, to really figure out this LinkedIn thing. Why do you feel that's important for women to tap into the LinkedIn?
Number one, women are very good in many ways, communication wise. They're excellent at communication. They're excellent at networking, and they're excellent at building community. Networking and community are different. And so when you look at women, whether it's in their career, they have generally a really good network that they may not have leveraged. Like, I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to seem weak. I don't want to seem needy. All of the things they negatively connotate to women that men can positively do and not get any backlash for. And so then we're trying to figure out how to navigate that. And what I always say to people, whether it's Black women, Latinas, and they're going to say whatever they want to say about us. But at the end of the day, what can you do to help you the most? And that's really leveraging how you effectively communicate. You're really great communicators. You share your, I was talking about this in one of my communities. How do we share why don't we share our accomplishments? And they talked about all the negative backlash. And so then how do we leverage our community of other women to talk about, oh, well, did you know that Sarah was able to close a $1.2 million deal, and it generated, $800,000 of profit for the company. And so how do you get other women to talk about other women's accomplishments so that a woman, if talking about her own accomplishments, doesn't get the backlash? And I think really leveraging and figuring out how to do those movements. And you can do that on a platform like LinkedIn. Number one, you already have the community and the connections on there. And if you don't, just pick up your cell phone and go through people in who are the last 10 people you text, go through your mom groups or your mom chats, your family, your sorority, other social circles that you have, and start connecting with those people on LinkedIn. And you just want to get to the first 500, because once you get to the first 500, it really opens up, and you can be as strategic. It's like, Michele, I'm not connecting with all the moms. I know you don't have to connect with all the moms. And sometimes you go pull up a mom's profile, like, wait, I did not know she spent 12 years in finance. She never talks about it, right? We don't talk about it. And now you're like, I do need to connect with her because these are where I can have clients, I can have career opportunity, is by connecting with her and being in her network digitally on LinkedIn. And so you can also be strategic, but oftentimes moms and mom circles don't always talk about what they previously have done if they're stay-at-home moms now. And then there's some bashing going on to the moms that are working to be there for their kids at dance recitals and at practices, and then as well as work full time, even if it's remotely or even part time. It's a whole lot of work trying to do both. And so how do you then not bash a mom that's really doing her best? Because sometimes you have to work. Mom has to work, right? And really help empowering that. And you can do all of these things on LinkedIn. And it is really funny. I was teaching a class about LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago, and one of the women focuses on crafting. And I thought, well, let's just see if we can find what crafting groups. So the keyword was try arts and crafts. We found 6 LinkedIn groups on arts and crafts. And exactly, that's the look she gave me. She's like, and so we think because it's professional, these things like arts and crafts aren't on there. women are on there, families are on there, people that like arts and crafts. Just because you're in finance doesn't mean you don't like other things. And so really just understanding that people are on there and just sharing that as well in your posts. So talk about, promote each other on LinkedIn by sharing accomplishments, promote what you do outside of your career, because it makes you human and other people connect. That's what I would say, focus on those 500 connections. You can be strategic about your, who those 500 are. If you're already at 500, you can just be strategic with where you want to go with your business as an entrepreneur and or with your career. And that's like, and so I'll stop there, but yeah, I can talk about this all day, but definitely start with your first 500.
Lovely. Yeah, I was aghast because I mean, I love arts and crafts. I'm in the, if you were looking at STEM, I'm the STEAM, right? So I'm the A, so I'm more of the artsy fartsy. But that's so cool because didn't know that, so that's good. But one thing, okay, so first I want to just bring people into like your journey on LinkedIn. Can you just share your journey and maybe some of what your strategies was and how you've, I mean, you just tell them your own story. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Long story short, I remember getting an email from one of my college mentees back in 2007, 2008. And she was like, Michelle, I'm on this platform called LinkedIn. I can't find you. I figured you would have been on there because you always are networking. I'm like, LinkedIn? I'm on Facebook. What is this LinkedIn thing? So I get on LinkedIn and I start getting into it. LinkedIn has always been my number 2 social media platform. Number 1 is always coming on. LinkedIn doesn't like that I say that, but if you can stay number 2 with an engineer, you're doing well, right? You're doing well.
Yeah.
And so I've been on LinkedIn since 2008. So it's 15 years this year. In that time, I was like, everyone's like, you need 500 connections. Like, okay, I got the 500 now. What do I do? And just literally, I would just go in and update periodically the company name, my job title. I would get people, not necessarily just recruiters, but other people messaging me like, hey, how did you build out your career to go from a cost engineer to construction engineer to a project manager? I see you're always moving around, and just asking questions about what was even in my profile. I wasn't posting, but just updating my profile and having keywords like civil engineer and construction management. So people in that industry saw what I was doing and really could kind of connect with me, especially other Black women and Black people as well. And so I think it's really important. And that's just your sharing your career accomplishments. But on the other side of that, you connecting with other people. And I would connect with other people that I may have met while I was at Nearsighted Black Engineers Conference or at local events, professional events. Sometimes it would be on an airplane. It's like you're on LinkedIn when apps started dropping, like, oh, here's my card. And sometimes I didn't have the app. So I would just wait until I got, like, it was great meeting you on the flight from Charlotte to wherever. And so it was always a way to take that digital, that physical business card, and connect with people online. And still going back 8, 9, 12 years later to see, how did I meet them? Let me scroll up to these messages and hopefully it's still in here. And so that's a great way to do it, is just taking business cards sometimes and reconnecting with people. But that's how I got started, was an email from a mentee who said, I figured you'd be on here. This is your type of place.
And then flash forward and you're crushing it. So when someone is on, okay, so they get on LinkedIn, what are the most important parts of, for example, their profile?
There are 5 key parts. I'll say the very first 3, if you can get people to scroll down your profile, is very good. First is the banner. And a lot of people leave the banner blank. The banner is your opportunity, if you're a business owner, to put up, your slogan, your one-liner, a call to action, or share what you do. And if you have like some well-named brands that you work for, you support it. And if they're not well-known brands, put them up anyway. And if you've shown up in different types of articles and websites and things like that, put that up. Next, you want to have a very nice profile picture. Neck up, shoulders up is really good. You want to share your eyes. So people like to connect via the eyes most of the time if they're not visually impaired. And so the other thing is you can also, if you're utilizing the app on LinkedIn, it gives you the opportunity to do a video. And so if somebody's visually impaired, you can utilize the video to share who you are, right? Hi, my name is, I do X, Y, and Z. If you have a name that some people perceive as difficult to pronounce, it also has an audio feature that you can utilize as well. Even if my name is not difficult to pronounce, people get it wrong, but I just utilize it for my one-liner or to share a bit about myself, whether you're a professional or not. So that's a little extra. So we have the banner and the profile picture, which is really clear. Next is your headline. So your headline is has three parts. What do you do? Who do you do it for? And what outcome do you get for people? What do you do? Who do you do it for? And what outcome do you get for people? And you can mix it up. It doesn't. So I have, for instance, my one, like helping people operations leaders retain diverse STEM talent. So they have to know, and you can make it longer, STEM being science, technology, engineering, and math professionals. And I can say underrepresented. I got a lot of words in there. I got to figure out if they're going to all fit. And then if you have room left, you can put in other things like speaker. You may do certain type of volunteer work. You may lead a certain type of organization. But usually you put in your headline things that you want to be paid for, right? But you want to say helping organizations reduce their turnover or budget by 20%. And you can say it could be manufacturing organizations, it could be higher education organizations. You just want to add in as many keywords so people know what industry you're in or who the individual, helping mompreneurs or helping women with menopause stay cooler even during the summer months with natural products. So that's three. Then the last two are going to be your about section. And I would tell you start with a story-driven post. When I was 12 years old, I became a civil engineer when a Category 5 hurricane hit my home state of South Carolina. Now you want to read, like, what? And so now you want to read the rest of it. And then lastly, you want to do your experience section. And you want to have keywords in your experience section. If you do have a LinkedIn profile and you Google your name, LinkedIn is probably in one of the top 3 searches because it ranks really high for search engine optimization. So those are the 5 areas of your LinkedIn profile, plus a couple of extras I threw in there that you can help visually impaired people as well with getting to know more about you.
Thank you for that. I really appreciated I was wondering how do people do the video and I went on the desktop application. I just couldn't figure it out. Yeah. Okay. So that, like that was so valuable. Were you going to say something?
You have to. Yeah. So for the profile picture, you have to do it on the LinkedIn app. So if you don't have the app on your phone, download it on the phone. Even if you go back and remove it later, you're going to go to your profile picture, your profile, and then your profile picture is going to have a plus sign. I'm walking through it so I make sure I'm not missing any step. You're going to hit the plus sign, and at the bottom of the screen, you're going to have 3 options. The middle one is going to say add profile video. You can directly video from your phone, or if you already have a TikTok or a reel or some other video that you've already done, or you did it on Zoom and you uploaded it to your phone, or you're going to drag it from a drive, you can do it that way as well. So don't worry about it. You could have it professionally done. You could do it on the fly, whatever makes you comfortable, but you have to do the video specifically from the app on a smart device.
Fantastic. Okay, so everyone gets their LinkedIn profile all gussied up. It's nice and you're ready to go. What next?
Great. So remember I said you're going to connect with people. Whether you send a LinkedIn connection request with a message or not, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go look at your LinkedIn profile. So people like, do I send a message? Do I not send a message? It's up to you. I don't send messages because you know what? My profile is optimized. They're going to go to my profile whether I send a message or not, unless we met at a virtual event or some other place. And then, because they already met me, like, oh, that's her, I know her. So they're going to go and look at my LinkedIn profile. I still go look at your LinkedIn profile, but they're going to go, and so it's optimized. And so What you really want to focus on is, why are you connecting with people? Are they in the industry you're targeting, or do they have the next job title you want, or two job titles up, so they're going to be your hiring manager? Are they your neighbor? Are they, did you graduate from the same university or high school? Were you both veterans in a certain branch of the military? And so you're going to have a reason for connecting with those people. So connect with people. And then lastly, you want to engage on people's posts. And people like, well, what do I post? I'm going to tell you this. Most people on LinkedIn don't post. So you can post 2 times a week, once a day. If you're going to post more than one, you only have to post once every 24 hours, because LinkedIn will chop up who sees it up if you post closer than 12 hours. It reduces who sees one of your posts. So 24-hour period is really great. But engaging on other people's posts is really sweet. And you're only spending 15 minutes a day doing this on LinkedIn. And that's sending connection requests, finding 1 or 2 people's posts that you follow, because they're going to show up in your feed, or you go look for their posts and you can just comment on what's going on. You can reply to other people's comments. I do that as well. And it works great to start building relationships, because if you have a good conversation with a person, guess what you're about to do? You're about to go over to their profile, like, well, what does she do? What do they do? And you're going to send them a connection request.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, you definitely are an expert. I mean, I could just hear how it's just coming off, it's coming off easily, You're just like, okay, so you're making these connections. Is there a specific dance or nuance in the way that you know, speak and communicate and connect on LinkedIn? Like, does it differ from, an in-person, or is there the same kind of dance that you do digitally?
It could be it's the same dance. And what I mean is, why did you connect with that person? Like, hey, I saw in your profile that, as usually I send somewhat of a standard message. Thank you so much for connecting with me. Let me know if I can if I can ever assist you. And somewhere in there, I may say, hey, I see that you were a Perry girl with me back on Periscope. And so it's really great to connect with you on LinkedIn. So somebody knows what I'm talking about. Somebody else is like, we don't get it. But you can say, what is
Perry
that
girl.
one? Exactly. What is that thing the reason why you connected with them? If they're alum, I went to Clemson University, so I will end with "Go Tigers." That's what we say. So what is something that they said at your alma mater, whether it's high school or military as well, that you can share? So you want to try to tie in something personal. If you're like, I heard you do an interview, I've connected with people from listening to them on a podcast interview. And I will drop in, I like when you said X, Y, and Z. It made me think of 1, 2, 3. And they were like, oh my God, thank you so much for that. And so you want to put in something in there personable. If it's not, what was it, a comment they said? Was it something they were interviewed on? Was it an article they shared, or articles? Like, you always share really good stuff about workplace. I get those messages too from people that they really like the content that I share on LinkedIn. So just think about and you don't have to make it long. It can be 5 words about just why you connected with them. But if you're on the business side, you're going to have a cadence to try to get them onto a sales call to see if you can provide a service to them that helps them with a problem or reach a goal that they have. So that's generally what I do when I initially connect with people.
Fantastic. And you mentioned sales. So I just want to, before we, move too far away from the LinkedIn and the word sales, they have this thing called the Sales Navigator. What are your thoughts on that, and using that if as a beginner or at all?
So Sales Navigator is really powerful. It is a great tool to have. I've had it for probably about 6 years now. What I would say is, or 7 years, I forget. But what I would say is, if you're new to LinkedIn and utilizing it for sales, LinkedIn is still has a very powerful search without Sales Navigator. What Sales Navigator lets you do a bit more easily is track people. So the people that you may be targeting to engage with to see if there'd be a good buyer, you're able to track them and see their activity on LinkedIn a whole lot easier. You're able to put all of those people, my Q1 or my January 2023 prospects, you can put them all in a folder and you can go in and check on things every day. So it's an easier way to group your people together to group people together, even companies and not just people. But if you don't have it, then you're managing it through a Airtable or a Google Sheet or Excel sheet, which is very doable. It is more cost efficient. Right now, Sales Navigator, even for a single license, is over $1,000, around $1,000. So you have to figure out where you are budgetary, but it can save you time. And they have a community just for Sales Navigator. That's how dope it is. So really think about where you are and just checking out some free videos about Sales Navigator before you go purchase it. And you can also get a free trial for about 2 months. If you get it from somebody else that's already a Sales Navigator customer, you can get 60 days for free. So you save some money, you're ready to go, you have your prospects that you want to target. And so when you get it the first day, you're in there pressing buttons, trying to break stuff that won't break, but you also know that there's a community to go to help you, as opposed to just YouTube videos or whatever online resources you find.
Thank you for that. I definitely have, I think I have Sales Navigator and I use a little bit, and it's for like the filtering down and really pinpointing things. It can be just so easy. And I think also it avoids a few limitations, because I think you do get some search limitations sometimes on the free side, correct? So
exactly.
Okay. So go ahead.
So people get confused when we say Sales Navigator. There's also professional services that links. So you can get a professional account that's paid as well. That is about, I think it was used to be $39. I don't know how much it is now because I know they raised their prices in 2022. And so that does give you different search ability as well. And so if you're not quite at the Sales Navigator, but you want some more powerful search options, you can test that out to see if you're going over to a professional account, but not jumping over to Sales Navigator. I've had that account years ago again. And it did allow me to do some searches that I really liked. But once I became an entrepreneur, running my own tech startup, I needed Sales Navigator more for what we were doing in the company. So that's why we switched. But it is always a process. And I have a team, about 3 of us really use it. I have a recruiter that use it. I do more of the sales outreach, and then my VA helps build out our prospect list. And so it can be very powerful, and you can utilize it in more ways. Yes, I know there's Recruiter and Recruiter Lite. We just like Sales Navigator better overall for what we do in the company. And so it really also depends how many people are on your team, how much money you have, and what are your goals that you're trying to reach on LinkedIn. So I'll stop there. But the more powerful one, I think they have a team one now you can integrate HubSpot with. And so now you're
Wow.
And you don't get that on a single license one. And so you really have to think about where your budget is. Like I said, it's 3 of us using one account. Where's your budget? And so that you're able to better manage your time. So I have 3 of us. I still pay for it. It just saves me time on how much I have to pay the team and how much more we can get done. Just not enough to get 3 different licenses or the team level. So just think about that as well.
Smart. Okay. Well, that's a very good strategy to, just kind of leverage the tools without breaking the bank. So as we wrap up here, I wanted just to ask a question that I kind of ask all of our speakers and experts about the one message. What is your one message that you really want to share with our women entrepreneurs in their various stages of menopause, that you feel like someone has to hear this today?
If you want to complain about it, complain about it. You do not have to remain silent at any point. Do not have your dog like, oh, that's normal. Well, it's not normal for me. You might hear from other people, this is new to me, this is different for me. So do not remain silent is the one thing I want to say. Go out, ask your questions, try different things. Just keep asking until you can find something that's working for you, or at least improves your symptoms as you're going through them. And just know, like, no, this is real. I was reading a tweet the other day, and there's a woman that had complained for 6 years to her doctor about something. Come to find out, it was an IUD. and it was an issue with the way it was implemented. It had been installed for 6 years. She had complained, and it's like, oh no, that's normal. And so, women advocating for ourselves. If you are like, I need you, my sister friend, I need my mom to go with me, somebody else to go with me to advocate, take that person with you. You are not wrong. Oftentimes, we are not listened to. Our voices are not respected, and so it's really important not to remain silent and get the support you need right now.
Well said. Thank you for sharing that. And that just, it breaks my heart because yeah, that's not the first story I've heard, right? And they're just like, people think that I'm crazy or I'm making it up. And then 7 years, like year seven, they're like, oh, it's this thing, or it's menopause. And you're like, well, what in the heck? So
Yeah.
I appreciate that message. And for anyone who wants to get in touch with you and stay connected with you, what do they do?
You can easily go to LinkedIn. I'm the Michelle with the 1L. So that's the other thing. My name is spelled not the way people would traditionally or usually think it's spelled. So it's Michelle with 1L. It's Heyward, hey, Heyward. So you can connect with me over on LinkedIn. Just tell me where you're coming from. I'll tell you what word. Just put menopause, and I'll know exactly who you are.
Menopause. All right. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate this. I've gotten a lot of really good like best practices. I'm gonna now I know how to do a video because I was so in the dark of how to do that on LinkedIn. And so for anyone who is really just looking to branch out and you don't have to do it alone. You can find folks that want to do arts and crafts even, right? So there's tons of opportunity in this big pool on LinkedIn. So thank you so much to Michelle for taking time today. Hopefully you're going to have a relaxing day after this, but you've been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.